In a world that often feels like a pressure cooker, there's a unique group of individuals who seem to navigate life with an uncanny calm. They're the ones who smile when others yell, who stay steady when others storm off, who see solutions when others see problems. They're the people who rarely get angry, and their secret has less to do with repression and more to do with a profound understanding of human nature. But what if their perceived indifference is actually a superpower? What if their calm is a form of control? And what can we learn from them about resilience, empathy, and the true meaning of strength? To understand this, we need to dive into the psychology of anger, or rather, the psychology of its absence. Because in a world that's always shouting, maybe the most powerful thing you can do is choose not to raise your voice. Once, colors were brighter, voices louder, and every word carried a weight that could tip the scales of your mood. Anger was a familiar companion, quick to surface when expectations clashed with reality. But time, like a patient artist, has softened the edges of your emotional landscape. The shift began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Perhaps it was a comment that once would have sparked a fire, but now merely warmed the air. You notice a change, a growing distance between the event and your reaction. This is the essence of psychological detachment, a concept explored by mindfulness practices. It's not that you don't feel, it's that you've learned to pause, to observe the storm from a safe distance. You've transitioned from being a participant to a witness. Think of it like watching a play. Once, you were on stage, every line and gesture a personal affront or triumph. Now, you're in the audience, seeing the same play but from a new perspective. You notice the sets, the lighting, the subtleties in the actors' performances. You understand the script's intent, the themes, the broader context. This is akin to what Carl Jung referred to as the process of individuation, where one gains objectivity about their own psyche. You're no longer caught in the drama, you're observing it, learning from it. It's not that you're indifferent. Rather, you've developed a deeper understanding of the human condition, a broader lens through which you view the world. This shift isn't about suppression or avoidance. It's about perspective, about seeing the bigger picture. You've learned that most conflicts are fleeting, transient. They're like ripples on a pond, disturbing the surface but not the depth. You've come to understand that anger, while a natural emotion, often clouds judgment and obscures understanding. This aligns with the concept of emotional regulation, a key aspect of psychological well-being. You've chosen, consciously or not, to respond rather than react. It's a subtle difference, but it's profound. You're not a passive bystander, you're an active observer, engaging with the world on your terms. This newfound calm isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to your strength, your growth, your wisdom. It's the calm after the storm, the quiet after the noise. And in this calm, you find a new way of being, a new way of relating to the world and the people in it. But what does this shift mean for your relationships, your sense of self? That's a question for another exploration. The immature ego is a psychological concept that aligns with Carl Jung's idea of the shadow self, the unconscious aspect of the personality which the conscious ego does not identify in itself. Those with an immature ego often find themselves in a constant state of defensiveness. They interpret every sideward glance, every delayed response, every casual remark as a personal attack. Their world is a battlefield, and they are always on guard, ready to fight or flee. It's like they're stuck in a perpetual game of emotional chess, seeing threats in every move, even the innocent ones. Take, for example, a colleague who forgets to say hello in the morning. To the immature ego, this isn't just a simple oversight, it's a deliberate snub, a sign of disrespect. They might spend the day stewing, planning their retaliation, or nursing their wounded pride. This is a classic example of what psychologists call personalization, a cognitive distortion where individuals believe that they are the cause of a negative event when, in reality, there are other factors at play. On the other hand, those who understand that most people's behavior is about them, not you, exhibit a trait known as emotional maturity. They don't take things personally because they comprehend the concept of projection, a psychological defense mechanism where people attribute their own thoughts, feelings, or impulses to others. They realize that when someone is rude, it's often a reflection of their own inner turmoil, not a statement about the other person's worth. This understanding allows them to maintain their emotional equilibrium, even in the face of adversity. For instance, when faced with the same colleague who forgets to say hello, an emotionally mature person might think, maybe they're having a bad day, or perhaps they're preoccupied with something. They don't internalize the behavior or assign malicious intent where none may exist. This ability to separate their own self-worth from the actions of others is a powerful tool for maintaining mental well-being. It's like they have an invisible force field that deflects negativity, allowing them to navigate the world with a sense of calm and confidence. This brings us to the next point, how understanding this concept can foster resilience and emotional strength. Picture a hiker standing atop a mountain, gazing down at the winding path they've traversed. From this vantage point, the rocky ledges, the sudden drops, the seemingly insurmountable obstacles all appear as mere wrinkles in the landscape. This is the advanced perspective of those who rarely get angry. They aren't repressing their emotions, they're simply operating from a higher altitude, where the small stuff looks insignificant. This perspective is not about ignoring problems but about seeing them in a broader context, much like the psychological concept of cognitive reappraisal. This involves interpreting emotional stimuli in a way that alters their emotional impact. For instance, instead of feeling anger when stuck in traffic, one might reappraise the situation as an opportunity to listen to a favorite podcast or practice mindfulness. This advanced perspective is not about avoiding emotions but about choosing which ones to engage with. It's like the philosophical idea of amor fati, coined by Friedrich Nietzsche, which means loving one's fate. It's about accepting and embracing whatever happens, rather than resisting or resenting it. For example, when a colleague takes credit for a shared project, instead of feeling anger, one might feel a sense of amusement or indifference. This isn't repression, it's a conscious choice to engage with emotions that serve a higher purpose. It's about picking your battles, much like a seasoned general. They don't fight every skirmish, they conserve their energy for the wars that truly matter. Moreover, this advanced perspective is about understanding the impermanence of things. It's about seeing life as a constant flow, much like the Buddhist concept of impermanence. Everything is in a state of flux, and holding on to anger is like trying to grasp water. For instance, when a friend cancels plans at the last minute, instead of feeling anger, one might feel a sense of understanding. They understand that their friend's priorities have shifted, and that's okay. This perspective is about acceptance, about understanding that life is full of changes, and that's what makes it beautiful. It's about seeing the world not as a series of annoyances, but as a grand, ever-changing landscape, much like the hiker on the mountain. And this leads us to the next question, how does this advanced perspective affect their relationships? Picture a storm passing through a town. Houses shake, trees bend, and people scramble for cover. Yet, there's one old oak standing tall, its roots deeply anchored, barely swaying. That's subtle superiority. It's not the oak boasting about its strength or the storm mocking the weaker trees. It's the quiet, unspoken knowledge that while others are left to pick up the pieces, you're already standing firm, ready to move forward. It's the calm after the storm that you reach in minutes, not days. This feeling isn't about arrogance or condescension. It's a subtle, internal acknowledgement of one's resilience, a concept echoed in the psychological idea of hardiness. Hardiness is about thriving despite stress, and it's not about being invincible. It's about having the tools to cope and recover quickly. For instance, think of a person who receives a harsh critique at work. While others might spiral into self-doubt, spending days nursing their bruised ego, the hardy individual acknowledges the feedback, learns from it, and moves on within hours. They don't dwell on the past or fear the future. They simply adapt and grow. This subtle superiority is also tied to the psychological concept of emotional agility as described by psychologist Susan David. It's the ability to be with your thoughts and feelings, to engage with them, to examine them, and then to consciously choose the ones that will serve you best. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding and processing them swiftly. For example, imagine two people facing a sudden change in plans. One might sulk, vent, and take hours to adjust. The other might feel disappointed but quickly reframes the situation, finding new opportunities in the change. The latter isn't ignoring their feelings, they're acknowledging them and moving on, embodying that subtle, quiet strength. Moreover, this feeling of subtle superiority is often accompanied by a sense of inner peace and contentment. It's not about looking down on others, but about feeling at peace with oneself. It's the calm satisfaction of knowing that while others are caught up in the whirlwind of emotions, you've already found your center. This aligns with the philosophical concept of ataraxia, a Greek term for a state of tranquility or peace of mind, free from fear and anxiety. It's not about being indifferent, but about having the inner strength to face challenges head-on and recover quickly, a skill that can be nurtured and developed over time. The lack of anger isn't a void, but a testament to their inner strength. This unshakable nature is often misunderstood, but it's a sign of emotional maturity and resilience. Think of it like a steady, unyielding oak tree in a storm. While others might be swayed by the winds of frustration and anger, they stand firm, their roots deep in the soil of self-control and emotional regulation. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but rather, it's a conscious choice to channel them in a more constructive manner. It's like the psychological concept of emotional granularity, where they can pinpoint and understand their emotions with great precision, choosing to respond rather than react. They don't just feel less anger, they feel more of everything else, and they've learned to navigate this emotional landscape with finesse. Their calm demeanor is not a sign of apathy, but a reflection of their evolved state of mind. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch comes to mind here. This isn't about superiority, but about transcending the baser instincts that often control others. It's about creating their own values and living by them even when it's not the easy path. They've chosen to rise above the pettiness, the drama, and the needless conflicts that so often consume others. They're not passive, they're proactively peaceful. They're not avoiding anger, they're cultivating something far more valuable. The lack of anger is a sign of their deep, abiding peace. It's not a lack of passion, but a testament to their emotional intelligence. They've learned to harness their emotions, to use them as fuel rather than being consumed by them. This is the essence of emotional intelligence, a concept popularized by psychologist Daniel Goleman. They don't just feel, they understand. They don't just react, they respond. Their lack of anger is not a weakness, but a strength. It's a sign of their mature, evolved peace. It's a peace that others haven't earned yet, a peace that comes from within, not from external circumstances. It's a peace that's unshakable, because it's not dependent on others' actions or words. It's a peace that's earned, and it's a peace that's powerful. Those who rarely get angry possess a unique blend of emotional intelligence and coping mechanisms. They're not just avoiding anger, they're practicing stoicism, much like the ancient philosophers who believed in focusing on what we can control. They're not lazy, they're conserving energy, much like a plant in winter, biding their time until it's the right moment to flourish. And they're not disengaged, they're often deeply observant, taking in the world around them with a keen eye, much like the psychologically sensitive individuals described in the highly sensitive person theory. Their apparent passivity is actually a form of active boundary setting, a way to protect their peace and maintain their inner calm. So, if you're someone who really feels anger, celebrate your emotional resilience. You're not missing out, you're choosing a different path. And if you're someone who often feels anger, perhaps there's a lesson here. Maybe it's time to ask, what boundaries do first need to set? What energy am first spending that first could be conserving? If this exploration of the psychology behind rare anger resonated with you, let's dive deeper in our next video. We'll be exploring the fascinating concept of emotional alchemy, the process of turning our emotional experiences into something positive and meaningful. Until then, remember, every emotion has its purpose, and understanding them is the key to mastering them.